Hello again, Dead 330. This is your daily MRE. I'm Cadet Monica. Here's my co-host, Cadet Aguilera. We have 4 sorties producing today. Number 1, revisiting the Space Force enlisted rank structure. They have 4 different options. 3 or 4? Was it 3?
4.
4 different options today where they're going to let the vote actually go to the enlisted force. Let them decide what they want, what they think is best. Maintainers rejoice! We have new clothing items. We are allowed tactical caps. That is coming within a year, but we're going to discuss that. And also shorts on the flight line. I believe is whenever the temperature is above 85 degrees in the area, we're now authorized to wear a blue shorts, which is just amazing.
It's revolutionary.
Really. Number 3, we have weirdest part changes. As we've talked about before, I was a maintainer. Albert is it kind of a...
I dabble in the mechanical side. I was an equipment operator, trades, but really. Stuff breaks, you got to fix it.
I like that. We're going to go over some of the weirdest stuff we've either seen damaged or stuff that we have fixed ourselves. And finally, if you're in the military, you're not in the military, the one thing you know about the military is our punishments. They are unique, they are special, they are near dear to our heart. We're going to go through some that were just too good not to talk about. Some that were done to us, some that we've heard that way in the past that are not allowed anymore. We like to go through some of our favorite things. So let's just hop right into it. Space Force ranks. Let me just pull up the picture right here. We're here right now.
Put those bad boys up.
So these are the 4 that they're going for. So we have the upside. Well, not the. I'm not going to say upside down, but that second one is near identical to the Army Marines enlisted rank, as you can kind of see, where it's just like that, and it keeps going up and up, and then you have the bottom rows. The one on top, which I thought we talked about earlier, which I thought was either the Marines or the Army, and it just clearly wasn't, was the upside down. That was how the Army rank wore them back in like Civil War, antebellum.
It's like a throwback kind of.
Yeah, so that's why I kind of like it. So it's a little, but I don't like how much it actually resembles the Army Marine ones, and I think we should stay with that. I like the third one because it's literally just the Air Force one. With instead of a star, the Delta.
I don't think they should do that.
And then you have the 4th one, which is clearly the most unique. And I'm not a huge fan. I don't like how it goes rounded on the top.
For kind of like the rockers, kind of the ones on top. You mean?
Yeah. So yeah. I'd rather they just stayed 3 on the bottom, or 3 on top. And I feel like with the angle, because it's a very angular rank, I feel like that would actually look really good. I hope it becomes that one simply because of how it looks.
I think it would be kind of crazy. So, we've mentioned this talking about uniforms before. So sort of like, in the Navy, the rank and your job is kind of mixed into, like, I was EO3 because I was an equipment operator, 3rd class being my rank.
Gotcha.
The ranks kind of have the same thing going.
Okay.
Where it's... sort of like if you look at this bottom row, where they have the what's it called, the Delta, or no, the Delta is the triangle.
Yeah, the Delta's triangle, and they have the world.
You see how they have the world underneath it.
Yeah.
So in the Navy ranks, you would have, like, for example, we'll just talk about that first one, with the 1 stripe.
Yeah.
So the top part would be like the Space Force. The middle, where the globe is, the Navy. That's where your your job's insignia would go.
Okay.
So, like, the mechanics had, like, a wrench, of course, right? And whatever else, like, job insignia it is. So it's like on the uniform, you could still tell what job someone had because it just had their insignia on it.
Okay.
So I think it would be kind of cool if the Space Force sort of, I don't know, blended. I mean, the ranks themselves don't look exactly like the Navy.
Yeah.
So it'd be kind of cool to maybe mix it up, throw that in there. They'd be the only other branch besides the Navy to do something similar. A lot of different ways they can take it.
Absolutely. I definitely hope that. Yeah, I don't like or prefer the top 2 only because it goes more towards like the Marine Army, and I feel like if anything we should stay close to the Space Force.
To the roots.
To the roots of the Air Force, which is I'm okay if they go for 3rd. I wouldn't be thrilled, but I'm okay with it. But I love the 4th because it is so out there.
Like, oh yeah, no, I love it, to be honest. If I was the one picking it, I'd be like, just go with that bottom row.
I'm going to say something wild here.
Here we go.
It's maybe a little crazy.
So this is controversial.
It might be a little controversial.
Oh.
So you see how it's boxed in by that, whatever you would call that shape by its sizes, which I'm not going to say because I don't want to sound like I don't know the shape by its sizes. I think it's a hexagon.
Okay.
Let's go with that.
All right.
Not a hexagon.
We'll fact check on the way back. I'm gonna get you back for that whole espresso incident, but
oh, that's my fault. So it's kind of blocked in by that border.
mm-hmm.
I say get rid of that. I say just do the stripes and then the world and the delta.
Okay.
And then with those like the rounded on top, I think it would look a lot better. Because I feel like it's supposed to fit this angle because they boxed it in.
Right.
So now that it doesn't, it feels off.
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Which I know.
Can you pull up? Actually, can you pull up the current ranks, the ones from all the branches?
Oh yeah.
Do you have that one?
I have that one right here.
Let's do a little side by side real quick. Because
yeah. So here's for all of them.
Okay, because I was curious, like. Again, if you look at the Navy has the box. It's kind of like it's not a hexagon or whatever shape it was, but it's kind of like still got the boxy thing. So I get what you're saying.
Now that I look at the Navy ranks again, I now see 100% how it is like going off of the Navy.
Mm-hmm.
But instead of just one, I don't want to call it a loop because I know it's not a loop.
You talking about that top part?
Yeah, but doesn't that rank? I guess no, that goes on your chest. Yeah, because it looks like it's made to go right here. It really is like.
Oh, I get what you're saying. Funny enough, they never do. Not the enlisted ones.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't even have known that.
Just sleeves.
Wow, that really does look just like the Navy.
Yeah, that's why I saw it and I'm like, oh, it's kind of cool if they go for it, but it's not exactly like it.
Yeah.
So I feel like they can work with it. You know, they can kind of play around with it.
It would work if they left if they left the fatigues entirely and did a in between of both dress and like operational uniform.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, it doesn't have to be camo,
right?
But like, it's gonna sound funny, but something out of like the realm of Star Trek, where like they wear uniforms that both look nice, but if they go on an expedition, they're still wearing it.
Yeah.
So something that combines those two, I think, is the perfect in between.
Yeah, I mean that'd be perfect. It's like functional but stylish.
Exactly. Exact functional. But
that'd be great.
That's what I call the ABUs, but they're gone now, so we can't even talk about those.
Goodbye.
Bye, ABUs.
Goodbye, Tiger Stripes.
Honestly. All right, story number 2. Maintainers rejoice. I say it again. As a maintainer in the past, there are some little things that if you had them, they would just make your life that much easier. One of those things is absolutely just shorts on the flight line. For those who don't know, already on the flight line, if it's a very hot day, you can just take off your top, and it's just your shirt and pants and boots. It allows for a lot more free of movement. If it's hot, you can get a lot cooler, but obviously there's still that thing of, your pants really weighing you down. So, and I know it was it Cadena?
Cadena.
It was Cadena who has done this already for a couple of years now, where you're allowed to wear I'm put up right here, blue shorts with your top. You have to change. You can't walk into work with that. You have to change after roll call. But it has, everyone who I've talked to who has tried it has loved them.
So is that, at least before in Cadena's case, was that just like a commander's discretion, or?
You know what? I honestly.
Or is it just so hot that they're like, people might like die without these shorts?
See,
kind of scenario.
I don't think so, because I feel like they would have been put in like the deployed locations first, which they haven't.
That's true, yeah.
Or I think they actually have, but it was like unauthorized, but your leadership would let it.
Right, it was, yeah.
I think Cadena was the first time that they had a documentation of AFI saying, hey, you can do this.
Right, okay.
I think that was like the first time. Because I've seen people, not at home station, but I think like I've seen pictures of people like deployed in like stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not, but this is the first time that it's like, hey, Air Force wide, everyone can wear them.
Yeah.
Which is incredible.
Which is great, yeah.
Which I guess, thankfully, I don't have to worry about wearing those again. I'm not going to be a maintainer again. But
it's one of those things that, like, it's great, but you kind of wish you were there when it happened.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm happy for everyone who now gets to wear them, because that's incredible. But, I'm kind of salty myself, but be happy for other people, Second part, tactical hats. Tactical hat. It looks like a baseball cap.
I'm throwing those up.
Put a picture up right now. So these were actually already authorized to some people who are deployed. It's basically just an easier way instead of wearing the standard garrison cap that we have to throw on. It has, if you're an officer, it has rank or just American flag and then your name tape in the back. And it comes in both, I'm going to call it, because lack of a better term, a trucker hat, where it has that mesh.
No, it is. Yeah, that's what I call them. It's got that mesh.
Yeah, trucker hat, or just a plain OCP follow back. I think that's a fantastic idea. people had been trying way back in BDU era before I was in. My sergeants would always tell me about times where you would wear the BDUs. You'd have like a baseball cap with like your squadron on it. So there's a lot of have like squadron pride.
Yeah. Cool. No, I like that.
I would,
like that.
But just to kind of go back to it. So now that we're going back to the baseball cap, I think that's really cool for like heritage wise and functionality. You're not allowed to have caps on in the flight line anyway, so it's not like a lot of your life has changed.
Question.
Go.
These caps, where and when do you wear them? Is it so like scenario specific?
So the funny thing, the AFI has not changed yet.
Okay.
So I don't know. I don't want to say the wrong thing.
Right.
From what I understand, it's supposed to be at any time. So now you can just boom, baseball caps.
Cool. So it'd be like I'm going to the BX baseball cap.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
What I'm going to imagine is that it will change per like commanders or base commanders approval. I think it's going to be if you're a home station, you can't wear them.
Oh, really?
This is all
speculation.
Speculation.
Yeah, disclaimer for legal purposes.
Speculation bell.
Yeah.
Bell.
Boom.
And then I'm going to say that it's going to be if you're at work. So if you're like maybe if you're on the flight line, you can wear them because it's like you can wear it tightly and then you can put your headphones over.
Right. Yeah. It's more functional than
that's what I'm going to say. But I'm saying if you were like you shouldn't be wearing it around the base regularly. That's my guess.
Right. Okay.
Because even aircrew, like they'll show up to the flight line, they'll get like and they just have any baseball cap on because wearing those headsets for a long period of time just kills your head. So it's like a little protection they have.
Yeah.
So now instead of having, instead of like it was always accepted, but instead of now breaking AFI, now it's just part of AFI. So I understand how
smart move.
Yeah, I do. I like this.
It's like it was decriminalized before. Now it's just legal. Now it's baseball caps are legal.
Oh, we've been fighting for baseball caps
for so long.
For a long time.
Well, the reason I was asking too is because I mentioned it to you before.
Yes.
And here's some more Navy talk, right?
I love it.
But it's they've been using the baseball caps.
It's like a brown cap, right?
Yeah. So they used to be blue with like the old uniform. Man, I would have pulled them out. I totally didn't expect to have this conversation. But
you know why? Boom. There you go.
This is it. But yeah, so they used to be blue. Now they swapped their uniforms to the green ones. So they got like the coyote brown.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of like what you mentioned with the old school ones, where it's like I have the Nimitz one and then my battalion one, and it just has that logo right there. But yeah, those are authorized just all the time.
Whatever. I would.
It's either 8-point or that one. So
because I still have my ID. You got your VA ID.
I do.
I have my reserve ID. And I mean, if I go on base, I see sometimes people with those hats on. I think they're really cool. I think personally, for Air Force wise, we should have that with the jet you work on. Because most of the time you only work on one jet. I guess that would be squadron specific. But I think if your squadron is like a one jet, like I was Greenside AMU, we were the 46 in the entire like Air Force. We were the only 46. It would be really cool if I just had a thing that said like 46
No, I think that's sick. Awesome. Yeah.
But that's just me.
Kind of like it's almost like Spirit gear.
But
it's nice. I always liked when it was like
because we kind of lost morale shirts.
Yeah.
Where we lost ABUs, we got these. We can't really wear morale shirts anymore.
Yeah.
Which I liked only because they were always made of like a super breathable material.
Mm-hmm.
It's
like that athletic thing.
I like
that material. Yeah. It's so nice to wear. Yeah.
That with the shorts, I'm easily flying.
Good to go. Yeah.
The air can't keep me down. My goodness gracious.
You're taking off with them.
I'm flying in the air with all this breathability. Can't stop me.
All this what is it? Aerodynamics, dude.
I'm so aerodynamic. Love it. All right. Story number 3: weirdest part changes. Okay, so now this one I'm actually quite excited about because it's not most of the time. At least for me, when I was changing parts. On the 135, I could narrow it down to the KC-135. I could narrow it down to probably like 10 parts.
Mm-hmm.
I would change. Because it was always the same ones, and then there's one that's just never went
Was this just because these were the common ones to break, or?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because again, it's one of those things, if it's like, it's a already 75-year-old jet. I'm probably highballing it a little bit because it was like the 1950s.
But they're old.
They're
definitely
old
way
planes.
past their life expectancy.
To the point where nothing on it, like they're not making them
is even made, yeah.
Yeah, nothing on it is new. In fact, throwback to just finished. Have you seen WandaVision?
Yeah.
You know, the very end, spoilers, is the two visions fighting, and they
Yeah.
have that thing of like, oh, if the boat rots away and is replaced with new pieces of wood, if all of the old pieces are replaced,
Is it still the same?
Is it still that?
Yeah.
That's 100. Other than the fact that they can't get rid of the entire structure of the
Right.
plane,
Yeah.
that's how it felt. Where it was like this flap control valve has been changed 20 times in like a month.
Yeah.
That's exaggeration, thankfully, but
In a month. Wow.
no, it's not. Yeah, that wouldn't happen. But yeah, but that's one of like a flap control valve would break all the time, or bypass control valve, or something like that. That's a real thing. I think it's just a bypass valve. I've been out.
I know these words.
I've been out for too long. Anyway, we want to talk about some specific things that are different for us. Mine's kind of not quick, but simple. So I'm gonna go for you.
Go first.
Yeah,
mine.
Had,
I feel like mine.
Not elaborate, but you had like.
Mine are just. It's a funny story. The pieces are not interesting. Like what actually breaks, but the story is funny.
So, as people know, the KC-135 is a strato tanker. So it gives fuel to the
stratosphere.
No.
Oh.
It refuels jets.
Okay.
Goodness gracious! I shouldn't say jets because jet implies jet engines. But we have like,
right. You don't want to discriminate the platforms here.
Yeah, you can't discriminate the prop planes. I love the props.
Do they get refueled?
C-130s?
Do they get?
Yeah.
No way, really?
I'm like 95% sure.
That is crazy. I don't think I've ever seen that.
Yeah, it's wild.
That'd be wild to see.
Coolest thing is always watching the B2.
Oh, really?
That thing get refueled?
Yeah.
Because it's so big. And when it gets really close to you, you're like, oh my god. Because it's just like one little guy or like two people sitting there like, this is a massive thing.
Yeah.
To me, it's horrifying. But, so I wanted to bring up this picture so I can kind of go on what I'm talking about. So, we'll have this up right here, obviously. Whoa. So, right there in the center, where you see the little chin rest, that is where the person lays, the boom operator.
Ah, yes.
And so, obviously, that window right there, with that bar with the metal thing, what happens is that thing will open up inwards. So, right now, you're facing aft.
Okay.
You're looking, like, the plane is going this way, you're looking
You're
this
in the
way.
rear, right.
There you go. So that thing will come, so you're looking this way, it'll open like this, and then you're looking out. I know there's more explanation that's required, I just want to give as much backstory. And then you have the instructors, which will go on either side on those very, very comfy half-inch mats. I'm serious.
Okay.
So anyway, so they lay like that, and then they have the controls. You can kind of see it right there. Where it's like, that's with the right and left hand. That's how they control it. They go like in and out and control everything right from there. So that thing that you see, that little black controller, is how they move it. Is how they move the boom. Like they look at it. You want to go left, you move it left. You want to go right, put it right. And so, for those who don't know, when aircrafts have problems, they have a thing of forms. And if in flight anything feels weird, goes wrong, they write up in the forms. They land. They come to us. They debrief us, and then we work on the problem. And something kept coming back where it said. Control stick made clunky noise, and we obviously we don't really know how to combat that. So we ran every ops check we could. We made sure that they're called ruddervators. They look like wings, move in accordance with to like fly it in the air. Everything worked fine. Everything worked great. It passed everything we could have put it through. We set up to fly again. Same thing, clunk check good, and to the point that we didn't know what to do, but they kept pushing and pushing and pushing to change certain things.
You guys need to figure out this clunk.
We need to figure out the clunk.
The clunk.
And so finally, I was on weekend duty. We worked 12-hour shifts. We're like 11 hours into a 12-hour shift, and we finally, like, that's when we started. I was like, awesome. So all this boils down to I had to climb underneath that main landings place.
Okay.
So like that main in the middle.
Yeah.
I had to go underneath it and get a bolt that was behind another piece of metal. So I'm upside down, fiddling with something I can't see, just going for it, all to take out a spring that was, the paint had chipped a little bit on where it was rubbing, and so when it slightly moved, it would clunk over the paint.
Oh. Wow.
I don't think I've been so like upset. I had to just stop working for a second because I was like, this is it. It's not broken. It wasn't broken. It wasn't like decrepit. It was this chipped paint. And I just sat there for like 30 minutes and just took it all.
Just absorbing the moment.
I remember I wrote it all. I wrote off the thing clunk check good, and I went home. It was. So
you just replaced that spring?
Yeah, we bought a new spring and put that in. It was wild.
That's insane.
Yeah. All right. So what do you?
I gotta ask, how comfortable was it getting in there?
One, not even a little bit. Two, like I'm not usually claustrophobic, but
it was tight.
I got stuck and I was like,
I
got to take a second. Like, I'm okay. Just gotta go slow because you're not supposed to go under there. There's no room under there.
That's insane.
Yeah, and I couldn't go in normally like this because what am I gonna do? There's glass there. I can't so I had to go in under.
That's wild.
The KC-135.
I would freak out.
Is still flying by the sheer will of maintainers. I think because it's just like I won't let
will or anger. A little bit of both.
A little both, because at points it's an inanimate object, and I get personal with it.
That's a relatable feeling.
Oh yeah, when you're just trying to fix something and it won't fit, you're like, I'm trying to help you.
You try to reason with it,
and it's just plain.
Yeah, it's plain, and you're here pleading
you're just
come on,
listen to me, talk to me. I did that with the 46 a lot because I always thought it was the computers and stuff. I'm like, what's wrong? Tell me, come on, what's the matter?
Open up to me.
It's like just
here to help.
to me. I can help you, like an insane person.
Yeah, that's been there.
I'm happy I'm not alone. All right, so what do you got?
Okay, so let me set the scene, right?
Oh boy,
1947. No, I'm kidding.
The Air Force is crazy.
How long have you been around? No, so this was.
Want me to set when am I setting the scene?
Throw up. I'll start with the Humvee. Boom, right here. Okay. This is it. Very few people, I think, don't know what a Humvee is, but
it is. Yeah, so it is our most iconic 100% vehicle.
It was deployment 2017.
Okay.
Scratch that. 2018.
Already.
Okay.
So no.
Deployment.
You don't even know.
Pacific Island. So it's hot. It's tropic.
Okay.
You got palm trees. Not really, but just trees. It's kind of like, imagine a forest, right?
Okay.
We're rolling in there. We're trying to do a little, what's it called? Maybe it's I can't remember. I don't think it's called earthworks, but we're disturbing the dirt. We're trying to set up a camp.
Okay.
So we're taking trees down and whatever, moving stuff around. And we had we had 1 or 2 Humvees with us for, just regular transport. And we figured, we got to the site, we get to work, we're setting the camp up, and we figured hey, we're not really using the Humvees right now for anything. There's people who, we can make this a training opportunity, right? We can get some people licensed on it. Mm-hmm. So, our higher-ups think that's a great idea. They get a couple of the builders to come in who didn't have a license, and they're like, you can just drive around, and that counts as hours because you're operating it, right?
I love it.
They get this good idea where they're like, let's take it off-road. And they're like, we'll drive around where the tents and stuff are supposed to go, and maybe it'll flatten out the ground a little bit. Some kind of, improv, what's that called? Leveling, right? Mm-hmm. So whatever, they go for it. And I wasn't there when it happened, but I was off doing something else.
Thank God, right? You're just
yeah, because I don't know.
Because you'd have to be there, why did this happen? I have no answer.
Yeah, no, that's very true. Oh God, the paperwork. Anyways, so they're driving, and then eventually someone comes up and they're like, you need to come see this Humvee. And I'm like, what happened? And they're like, well, it's broke. And I'm like, well, what's broke? How broke is broke? This is the denial phase where you're just
this is fine.
It's not really broke.
Yeah, it's fine.
Because I'm thinking did they smash a mirror? Whatever.
They're in the looking at the engine light being like, it's fine.
Yeah.
Emotionally.
Yeah, yeah. And then, whatever, so I get out there, and the scene is hilarious now in retrospect, because I'm walking up, and it's the dude who was driving, the person who was instructing, one other person, I guess a spectator that would happen to be there, and our chief. Mm-hmm. And I walk up, and I talk to my buddy, and I'm like, what? I heard this broke. What's up? He's like, no, go around the front, and just look at the front of it. and tell me what you see. I'm like, okay. So I roll around to the front of it. Nick, there's a root that's about like the length, arm's length, from shoulder to fist, right?
Mm-hmm.
About that big. Smashed through the grate into the radiator.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Not a pretty sight, because it's like something, you see this and you're like, oh, this is completely wrong. This is broke.
Yeah, on the
broke.
light side, I'm like, something's not right.
Yeah, we can't just write this off. And it's just immobile, and now there's just this thing in there, and I have all these questions running through my head, like, do we take it out? Do we leave it in? Like
it's a wound.
We can't, yeah. And it's like, I mean, are we going to spill, like, radiator fluid everywhere? Like, all these questions.
That scene from Family Guy. Do I take it out? Do I leave it in?
Yeah, literally that, yeah. That scene, just with a Humvee.
Oh my god. I could have immediately, right when somebody says, like, hey, we had, like, an issue, and then you walk out, and then your buddy, whoever you were, he's like, you need to see this.
Yeah.
That's when you know you're like, all right, I'm going to be here all day.
Yeah.
Like, this is a
It's like,
day affair.
You go between, like, this is going to be good, and then you see it and you're like, damn, this is my problem. Like,
Yeah. You're like, ugh. That is where you're like, oh, this is my problem, isn't it?
Yeah.
That would happen for us, yeah, whenever there was, like, an excessive hydro leak. And I mean, like, sometimes it was massive, and you're like, oh, no.
Yeah, you're
that's
like,
me. Like, I'm that. This is my problem. It's like, oh, wait, no, this is my problem now.
yeah. And to be honest, I don't even know, like, how that problem was resolved.
I feel like you'd have to just take it out and then just see what's damaged and, like, start changing it.
Yeah, because, I mean,
Dude,
what is especially sucky about this story is, at the time, we had only 2 mechanics with us.
oh, no.
Mm-hmm.
That's done. You've now put them aside. They can't work on anything
And
else.
one was an E5, who, I'll give him this, he knew what he was doing.
Yeah, okay.
Good mechanic. And the other one was, like, just a junior troop, E3, E4,
Yeah.
I
But
can't
you can
remember.
they get tools, which is exactly what you need them for.
Yeah. So I think they slapped it in neutral and just rolled it back to where we had our yard set up. And they're like, I guess we'll deal with this now.
I mean, yeah, that's a whole Humvee down.
Yeah. That was actually, it was down for a while too.
I would imagine so.
The worst part about, like, where we were was, like, so remote. Well, we had the Air Force doing our supply runs with the C-130s. Because there was, like, an actual functioning, like, civilian airport that was small, but it was, we can land here.
Around, yeah.
So we were completely dependent on, like, 1, our logistics, which, like, and then 2, like, Air Force logistics of, like, actually transporting it.
Yeah.
So for a while, they're like that Humvee was, like, down for maybe 2 weeks after that. And it's like, why is this, like, still broken? And they're like, we asked for, like, parts, but they'll get here when they get here.
Yeah, and, like, we were...
And there's nothing you can do, you know what I mean?
Like McConnell, we have to sometimes we're like, hey, it's on its way. Like,
Yeah, like...
we're getting the part,
Mm-hmm.
especially in a
Just
remote
waiting,
location like that. Wow.
Yeah.
Don't you love our jobs?
Yeah. I did learn something very cool, though,
What?
since we're kind of talking about the C-130s or whatever. We had a fuel truck. Well, we were also in charge of fuel operations.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I was licensed on, like, almost everything we had there. So I would take the fuel truck down to the flight line, and they had, like, a special gate for, like, maintenance. It's for maintenance, but they would let us through it just because it was, like, direct access into the flight line. So we'd roll in there, and I'd roll with the fuel truck, stage it, and then the C-130 would straight up land, taxi all the way up to where we were, and they can just hook up directly into the fuel truck and give us fuel from their wing.
What?
And I'm like, what? Seeing that? Dude, I had never seen this before. And I'm like, I didn't even know you could do this.
Well, I didn't even know you could do that.
And the loadmasters and whatever acting like, oh, just another day on the job. And I'm freaking out on this fuel
You're like,
truck.
what is this?
I'm like, this is magic. Yeah, no, it's awesome.
I love that. I love being humbled by stuff in the military where like, you think you've seen it all, and then somebody happens.
Yeah, that's how I was. I'm like, I've driven this. I've done fuel so often. And then they come in and just start like, oh, you want fuel? Boom, right there.
For completely
Straight from the plane.
Love it. Last but not least, our sortie, military punishments. Now, ROTC, we're a little light on that. Obviously, you can't do a left face wrong, then immediately get on your face and give us 10 to 15. But, yeah, I would honestly leave that would be a lot more fun.
That would be,
if you
man, it's like a game changer. Just watch people get dropped. That'd be wild.
Like, we had something was like, it became for other things, but if you drop something, everyone would yell, follow it.
Oh, really?
That became other stuff where like if you did something wrong, they just say follow it, and you'd give like 10 to 15.
Oh, really?
I did that with some of my like E2s, E3s.
Oh, for real?
If they dropped it like a wrench or like a screw, follow it. Nothing like terrible.
That's fun.
I'm not asking for like 50.
Right,
10
right.
to 15.
Yeah, just...
You laugh, aha.
Yeah.
But other than that, I always found that fun.
That's cool.
Follow it.
I like that. I actually really like that for some reason. I gotta write that down.
Get ready if I'm POC.
Yeah. Oh.
Next semester, GMC gonna be on their face. Unless I can't do that, then I won't do that. All right, military.
Someone's gonna watch this and be like, revoke their EAs.
It was like, oh wow, no.
No.
By the way, as the time of recording this, EAs still are not out. Hopefully they will be by the time this is out or a little bit after. Good luck to all of you guys. Hopefully us as well. We're hoping everyone deserves it. Really hope everybody gets it. Anyway, back to military punishments. Right after that, I'm going to start with my favorite, and I thankfully never did this, but I did know not people who did, but sergeants who gave this out.
Or who did it.
And some of these are definitely a little dated. These aren't allowed now. Old school military, old school Air Force.
Getting smacked around, definitely can't do that anymore.
Yeah. Oh my god. Which you probably shouldn't have been able to ever.
Actually, that reminds me of some crazy stories.
Yeah, hold on to it.
We're getting ahead of ourselves.
My favorite is paint the flight line. Now, a lot of things in the military sound like one thing, and doing that, like follow it. How would you know that meant get on your face or drop something? Paint the flight line is not that. Paint the flight line is exactly what you think it is. It is, if you mess up, you come in on a Saturday or a Sunday, and you paint the flight line. As people all know, the flight line, like there's a red line that surrounds it. You can't cross. So SecFo or security forces will put you on your face and arrest you, or at the very least question you. There's different white lines. Yellow lines showing where aircraft park. It's a bunch of different guiding lines.
So you just go ahead and paint all that?
You start painting. You just paint the flight line, usually for 12 hours a day.
Wow.
That's like, instead of getting paperwork, you get that.
Yeah.
Which is like a whole thing.
So it's a trade-off.
So that is my big one. You had something here, which I this is you see memes about. I'm sure if I Google it and I'm gonna say.
Oh, I've seen the memes. And it's like seeing that. Like people are like, haha, that's crazy. And I'm just there like, this is a personal experience. What I'm about to talk about. What do you even call it? Just sweeping the rain?
That's exactly what it is.
It's very literal.
What did they give you? Did you have like a squeegee or did you have a broom?
It was a broom. It was I had a broom. Some people had push brooms.
I feel like you were hazed. I feel like you talked to somebody about this.
This is like my therapy session.
Where's a jag?
Getting all this out. Not helping me. That's so yeah. This is
walk us through how it happened. Maybe not what caused. You don't have to give us what you did wrong.
To be honest, I didn't even do anything. It was just like I got roped into a group punishment. I'm like, I guess I'm here now.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, right. How military is that? Anyways, so setting the scene. It was actually on the ship.
Ooh.
You
swept the rain on the ship.
Hold on,
I'm sorry. I'm getting excited.
You're too far. Yeah, so we're on the ship. I was on an aircraft carrier. I don't know if I've ever mentioned that on the pod, but it's a big ship.
Yeah.
3,500 people. Those are your coworkers.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and
how big it is? Anyway, keep going.
Yeah, no. It was a full day of work. I can't even really remember what took place that led up to this mass punishment, but I do remember this. It was getting close to when we would at the end of the day we would muster up as a department. So everybody. Well, okay. At the end of the day on a ship. Every day ends the same. It ends with they'll announce cleaning stations.
Okay.
And you take an hour out of that last hour of the day to clean the ship.
Okay.
And every department has their own spaces that they'll clean, so but everybody cleans. And this took place after that because we would muster up, and it was kind of end of the day announcements, and then whatever leadership says whatever they need to say, and then it's all right, goodbye, go home, whatever.
Yeah.
Or not goodbye. There's still more work to do, which happens.
Which does happen.
But anyways, it was around that time. It's after cleaning stations. We're all expecting to muster up and do our thing, and the word gets out where it's hey, no one go to our muster spot. like they want us all the way aft. And this location is called the fantail. It's all the way on the rear of the ship.
Okay.
So all the way aft. We all get out there, and I don't think it was the whole department, because that would have been an absolute cluster of people, but I think it was my division, which is still a lot of people. So imagine like 15, 20 people.
Yeah.
And we're all out there, and whatever we did wrong gets brought up. You know, our leadership's yelling at us, blah, blah, blah. It's raining. And they're like, everybody go get brooms. And I'm like, oh no. This, like, it's already after cleaning stations. Like, I have a bad feeling about this. I have a bad feeling, Nick. Whatever, we go get brooms, we come back, whatever. And our chief is like, oh, actually, scratch that. It wasn't our chief, it was our first lieutenant, which the ranks here are not what you think they are.
That's like an E03.
So the Navy doesn't have an actual rank of first lieutenant. That's a position that you hold on the ship.
Okay.
So you are the ship's first lieutenant, right?
I'm hearing you.
Crazy. His actual rank, he was an 05.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But he was like basically the top dog of our department, as well as the ship's first lieutenant. He comes down. He's like, all right, here's what I want. No one's going home. This is a Liberty item, so no one's going home until all the standing water gets swept off the fantail. Because it's an exposed spot.
Yeah.
And I take a look out there, and I'm like, that's crazy. Because it's still raining. It's still raining, Nick. And we can't go home until all the water's gone.
Oh my God.
So we're out there like 10, 15 people deep, sweeping water, getting rained on. And you almost have like this, I don't even know how to describe it. Maybe it's a bit of a spiritual experience where you wonder just what went wrong.
An epiphany.
It's an epiphany, yeah. And you're like,
that's great. Oh my God.
Yeah.
So great.
Yeah, so we're out there. We did that for a while. To add insult to injury, you can kind of peek around the corner and you'll see the brows, which are like the bridges that connect the ship to shore.
Okay.
So what you walk across to leave the ship or get on. So we're there. I'm soaking wet, and I'm holding the broom like this. I'm watching all these people do this. I'm like, this is crazy. I look over and I can get a perfect shot of just like the bridge or the brow and people leaving. And it's like, at the end of the day, it's like, imagine 3,500 people trying to leave all at once. It's a mass exodus of like, get me out of here. So I'm seeing this stampede of people leaving, and I'm like, could be one of them, but I'm not.
That is incredible.
Yeah. So that's a funny story now.
That's a funny story.
It's something I can laugh at now.
Don't they say comedy is tragedy plus time?
Plus time, yeah.
There you go.
You're right.
So, there you go. So, I don't even know. We should have saved that for last. I don't know. I have nowhere to go from here. So, I'm just going to give some of the fun ones.
Yeah.
So, that was painful. This is just some fun ones. This was another one that a sergeant told me. We have something in the maintenance field called QA, Quality Assurance, which, I mean, that's things other places too. Basically, they go around to make sure everyone's doing jobs properly.
Assure the quality.
Yeah. And you have to, when you're doing certain jobs, it requires certain PPE.
Personal protective equipment?
Yeah, so whether that's latex gloves, goggles, an apron, something to protect. And if it requires it, certain jobs do, and they'll say that right there. If you're not wearing it, you get a QA fail, which you'll have to go see the commander, or other things, just punishments will happen. Anyway, this one person got in trouble for not wearing their PPE, got written up, did the whole process. Happened again. Got written up, went to go see the commander, did the whole process. Happened a third time. And at that third time, he did everything he had to do. I think he almost got an Article 15. It was like a whole thing. But anyway,
wow. Well, I mean, 3 times.
3 times.
Come on, buddy.
Yeah, like
get with the program.
Seriously. But his supervisor, what he had to do was he came in on a Saturday, and for 12 hours, they put on and took off different PPE, whether that was putting on goggles, putting on gloves, putting on an apron. All right, now take it off. All right, now put it back on. All right, now take it back off. For 12 hours they did this, and it was different types of stuff for different jobs.
Oh, man. That's awesome.
That was the most intense thing I've ever heard.
I'd love to imagine like the scene was like kind of like a table, a long table,
It's like,
and it's just like gloves, aprons, goggles,
And-
like any PPE that you could find on base, you brought it.
And I kind of had this thing, like, you hear stories about people. It's a weird segue. Like sometimes people in like prison, they say like after a certain amount of time, it's just they just go with it.
Mm-hmm.
That's how basic was. Where you're just like eventually this is just
Oh
my
yeah,
life now.
eventually you're like, this is my life now.
This is all segueing to like if I was being told to do all that stuff, I'd eventually reach a mindset probably around like hour 4 or 5, where I'm like, yeah, okay, this is my life now.
Yeah.
And you're just doing it. The tenacity of the sergeant to just sit there and watch it.
No, it's hardcore.
To actually like give it 110% the entire time, that's wild to me.
I hope you use that as that's definitely an EPR bullet, right?
It has to be something.
Training, 12 hours of training. That sounds pretty good to me.
You have to spice it up a little bit, but
Well, yeah, but I mean like the gist of it, right?
Raise the spirit decor of individual airmen.
Correct.
Something like that.
Corrected, yeah.
Corrected action. I don't know.
Can you put that down as a bullet?
If you word it the right way.
That's all it comes down to, isn't it?
Well, because in the end of the day, you did do something. You did do corrective action.
Yeah.
I don't think you could say like 12 hours of PPE training. That wouldn't sound
That'd be
good.
hilarious. I'd love to see it though.
That would. Another one of my favorites. This is going back all the way to basic. You always hear the best ones from basic. This was a little old. This is right at that cusp where they stopped doing the old school stuff and like started doing new school. So we have things in the military's flag conditions. I think it's like yellow, red, and then black. Basically, if it's too hot, you can't do a certain amount of things. You have to have a certain balance of work and rest. So people don't get heat exhaustion. It's for safety. It's smart. It's useful. Black flag conditions being the worst. So it's that means it's past a certain threshold. I think it's like 95 and up.
It's just too hot to like do anything. Basically.
Yeah. So it's like if for every 10 minutes of work, you need like 50 minutes of rest or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like close to an hour of rest.
Yeah, it's like that
10 minutes of
hot
work.
that like if you do this, you'll exert yourself too much. Anyway, so what would happen? So it was my MTI told me this from a previous flight that he did, and what happened was an airman just kept more trainee, kept messing up, to the point where he was going to yell at him and say, "Get on your face, like drop and give me some push-ups," but he couldn't because they were on the tarmac, and it was too hot to physically put hands on. So he realized he couldn't. So he said, "Go look at that black flag, give your reporting statement, and thank him 20 times for allowing you to not get on your face right now." Go. And apparently he just stood there saluting him, training, blah, 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 reports as ordered. Thank you for not making me get on my face. Salute down, salute back up, training, blah, reports as ordered. I think that is the funniest thing. Because you're not hurting anybody.
No.
I feel like that is a useful tactic.
It's so creative.
It really is.
I love hearing about the creative ones.
I truly think MTIs are some of the most creative individuals.
Oh, yeah.
Because especially now they can't curse. So you hear a lot.
Some of the stuff they say is just straight up like it's. I know I had these moments in boot camp where it was like they would say something completely serious, straight faced, and it takes almost everything inside of you to not laugh. Oh yeah, because what they're saying is ridiculous.
And I feel like they know it too because they say it over and over. They're like, "You're trying to like what?" Yeah. There's no way you're yelling.
They want someone to just break, just start laughing.
Absolutely. You wrote down something similar to that.
Yeah, so I can't really remember the details, but one of our chiefs one time went up to a junior troop who was just messing something up, or maybe he just didn't like him. I don't know. Yeah. But he did. Yeah, it happens. He went up to him and he said something. What was it? Oh yeah, he looks at him and he goes, "I want you to walk up to the trees that you find and thank them for working so hard to produce the oxygen that you waste every day." That's a stinger.
Was this an E7? Was it?
Yeah.
It gives off E7 energy.
Yeah. Oh,
it's just it tastes like
you could
air.
You could taste the salt as he was saying this.
My goodness gracious!
And the kid did it.
The kid did it.
Yeah, I mean, well, kind of had to at that point.
Yeah, I'm gonna go thank some trees now.
He thanked a couple trees, and then our chief kind of watched him for a minute, and you could tell that like he definitely thought this was hilarious. He's there like all cross-armed, like making sure he looks, like like mad, but inside he's like, "This is hilarious. I have someone talking to trees." So yeah, he watched him for a second, and then he's like, "All right, I got chiefy things to do," and he bounced.
I have chiefy things to do.
I don't know what they are, but
oh my god. Well, I think that does it for us here at Your Daily MRE. We had some fun ones today.
Yeah, this was fun.
I was very
Good
happy
banter.
with those. Hopefully, we'll get back to you next time on the Space Force ranks because apparently that seems to be a recurring topic on this show.
Yeah,
where we discuss those.
they're always up to something. Man.
I like. Listen, everyone knows I'm a Space Force boy. And
Yeah.
I'm gunning for the
You're a spaceman.
I would absolutely love a spaceman. Yeah. That does it for us. Why don't you give us a safety brief?
All right, so we're gonna wrap this up with a safety brief.
Yes, please.
All right, so this one's gonna be a little bit of a fun fact.
Okay.
For those of you at home, if you know a hard hat, right? You see them at construction sites. Not sure. Did you guys ever have to use them for anything?
Oh, absolutely. All the
Yeah.
time. We had some weird tangent. We had some that were they were legal and they were like certified. They were shaped like cowboy hats.
I've seen those. I always wanted
I'm
them.
gonna try to pull a picture right now.
Yeah, those
I
are
definitely
honestly
have one.
awesome. I love those. But anyways, on your standard hard hat, those things on the inside, we used to just call it the guts, but it's like the actual frame, the structural part of it. Did you know that after one hard hit, you have to get that swapped out? So after a big old clunk, you're supposed to swap it out because they're only rated for one hard hit.
Look at that. I wonder what counts as a hard hit.
Yeah, I don't know what the metric is.
Because like I've dropped a couple of hard hats. Is that right? Like it's a certain distance. There's definitely an answer, and I just don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never seen like the regulation.
Yeah. Like somebody comes up. To
I've gotten hit pretty hard wearing those. Like I've had moments where I'm like, actually, I'm glad I had this.
Oh, me too.
Because that would have hurt.
Yeah.
That's your safety brief. So if you
Look
have a
at
hard
that.
hat, go forth, swap those guts out.
You're safer, and you know something.
You'll be safer for it.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank
See
you for
next
coming.
time.
Goodbye.